background about who I am and what I do. So, that's always a good idea to know what you're listening to and why, right? Why someone can tell you something instead of just like blindly listening to people. So, what I currently am doing, I've done a lot of different things. I've spent 20 plus years in the fitness industry, and then 10 of those years I actually spent teaching at Texas A&M. So I was a professor for health and kinesiology. We talked a little bit. I got to work with the A&M football team, the A&M basketball team, the swim team, mainly teaching yoga, but more importantly teaching, why it's important. This whole health thing is important, right? And now I'm really excited because I've shifted totally, and I get to travel and meet people like you guys and talk about this. I call it like on the ground, right? So we have like teaching in a classroom. We all go to school probably, where you sit there and very structured, but I kind of like this stuff where we get to learn and talk and maybe even move a little bit. So that's why I'm here today. We're just gonna chat a little bit about health because it's a new year. Does anybody know what usually happens at the beginning of a new year? Yes. Has anyone heard of a New Year's resolution? Yeah. What kind of New Year's resolutions do you think people make? Yeah, oh, perfect. Yeah, like they go on a diet, right? Right? What else? Do you know? To exercise. So usually people like want to start clean, like start at the very top, and they make all these health resolutions. And so they do things like, I'm going to eat this way, or move this way, or exercise this way, or be kind to these people. And they look at it like, okay, I'm going to start afresh. What do you think though happens, let's say February 1st. So January 1st, a full month, then February 1st. What do you think happens to a lot of people who made those resolutions? Do you think they're still doing the stuff they said they were going to do? Why not? Yeah, usually I don't know the number off the top of my head, so I'll make up a percentage, 75%. I made that up, so don't tell everybody that, right? How many of the people, why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think they're not sticking to their resolutions? Why don't you do something that you said you'd do? Maybe you're tired. I think someone just said you get tired, right? You forgot why it was important. I think a big thing is a lot of people make these big things, but they don't tell themselves why it's so important, right? Or they don't understand what impact it's really going to make. They just say, okay, well, these other people are doing it. It worked for them. I'm going to do that for myself. So today we're going to wipe the whole resolution thing away. Wipe it away. I'm not a big fan of them. Anybody else not a big fan of resolutions? Or I've seen myself break the promise to myself too many times, right? Or maybe you've seen people start a diet and then not stick to it, and then they maybe make that resolution next year and the next year, right? So instead, we're going to talk about what it means to just live healthy every day. And I'm going to say healthy. What do we typically think of when we think of health? What kinds of things? Someone says you're taking a health class. What are they going to talk about? Diet. Food. Is that food? Water. Exercise. Yeah. Did you know that that's only 1 out of 8 pieces that are important to health? All that physical stuff, all that diet and that exercise, right? And I think that's another reason a lot of people maybe don't keep their resolutions is because there's only one little thing that they're focused on. But in order to really think about health, there's 8 different things to focus on. Did y'all know this? Some of you maybe did. I personally like to call it the wellness pie because I love pie, right? So if you can cut a pie into 8 pieces, I like to call that. A lot of people call it a wheel. Wheels aren't as interesting to me, right? Maybe if you're into wheels, a car is a wellness wheel, but I like to call it the wellness pie. All right, so physical is one, and we're definitely going to be doing the physical today. We're going to be doing a little bit of yoga. I like to call it movement. Yes, it's yoga, but it's movement, and we're not going to do anything hard, and it's going to all be something that you could even do if you're if you have a chair and you're just sitting there, or maybe there's a commercial break on TV and you have 2 seconds to just do some movement, we're gonna do that kind of stuff today. We're also going to get our lunch today is nutritious, that has some, healthy components to it. So we're gonna definitely touch on that, but we're gonna do a couple little things real quick to help learn about the other 7 things. So the first one that I want to tell you about is intellectual wellness. Intellectual wellness. So who here goes to school? Who here has homework? Who here has to do math problems? Okay, good news is if your hand is up, you are already working on your intellectual wellness every day. That means you have to learn new things and you have to be challenged, almost every single day. Who didn't have their hand up? All the bigs. Okay, so now all the bigs, y'all need to tell your little what you do right now that helps you challenge your brain. It doesn't have to be daily. And if you don't have something, come up with something really quick that you're gonna do. All right, ready, go. Okay, what did your big tell you that she's doing? Reading and doing work. Yeah, sometimes work can be stimulating and challenging. What about you? What did your big tell you? He's reading too. What are you reading right now? Okay, paragliding stuff. He's like learning all about paragliding. That seems very challenging. That's like a whole nother. What else are we reading? Anybody reading a good book right now? Anybody, doesn't have to be a big. What are you reading?
Lunch Lady.
Lunch Lady.
She was reading it to the one away here.
Is it good? I don't even know that book.
It's like a kind of a little story and kind of a big story together.
Oh, that sounds like a good book.
Math Leads.
Math leads. So books. Okay, that's kind of a good one. So maybe books is, if you ever hit a point where you're not going to school anymore, get a book. Okay, so the next one that we want to talk about is occupational wellness. This sounds so weird, especially if you're in school right now, you're like, I don't have a job, or I don't need a job, or I don't have any idea. Why do you think that a job or doing something is so important? Why would that be a part of health? Yeah, it's how you spend your time. Absolutely. And typically we like to set ourselves up to spend our time doing something we what? Enjoy. Right. So now, all right, littles, it's your turn. Okay? I want you to think about, you've probably been asked this question a million times, right? Something that you want to do later in life. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a hobby, something that you want to learn how to do later in life, like you can start thinking about right now. Okay, ready, go. Wow, I'm excited for all the dreaming. Okay, so we're 3 down. We have physical, intellectual, occupational. Number 4 is social. So you guys have done a really good job talking to each other. Really good job. So let me tell you, this goes right back to occupational. Now, I worked with college students, right? After college, typically they want to go out and get a job. And I have to teach them sometimes little things that they forget they need to know. Like this. Hi, my name's Gretchen. What's your name? Hi, Ellie. I actually didn't meet you, so that was good. We're getting some names here too. So and that can be kind of intimidating, right? To shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye. you think that's important? Super important. So all those things that we want to do, sometimes in order to do them, we have to have those little kind of uncomfortable skills like shaking hands and looking in eyes, right? So I want everybody to stand up real quick. Oh, you probably knew it was coming. And okay, so you can't pick your big or your little. I want you to introduce yourself to two people. Just shake their hand, look in their eye, and say, "Hi, my name is," and say it.
How to shake hands? Oh, why don't you teach them how to shake hands correctly?
Perfect. Yeah, I'll teach you. This is a hard one. Okay, we're gonna pause for a second because some people were asking about shaking a hand. So you get to come up. Olivia, you get to be a guinea pig, or a guinea cat maybe, right? Okay, so when you shake a hand, do you just kind of put it out there like this? That's kind of like those stories from the Kings, like "Kiss My Ring," right? We're not doing that thing today. We hold it like this, like you're holding a cup, right? You don't want the cup to fall out of your hand. So everybody hold it like this, like you're actually holding a cup. Yeah? But we don't hold a cup like this because it'll drop. So you want to hold on to the cup, then put your hand in theirs. Oh, nice. She's got a nice cup grip. And then just squeeze the cup a little bit and shake like this. All right, so hold the cup. You can do it with your big right now. We can do like a, yeah, perfect. Now put your hand in their hand, squeeze the cup a little bit, and shake. Now typically if you're left-handed, you're gonna automatically go with the left. That's okay, it's no worries. They'll shift if you're left-handed, it's not a big deal. Okay, so find two people, give them a nice firm handshake. Thanks for that. I'll do it, thank you. Hi, nice to meet you. And actually that should go in my college curriculum as well. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, I didn't actually meet you. I need to meet Dawn. Okay, Dawn and Ellie. I need to meet. What is your name? Hi, Mariah. My name's Gretchen. Good handshake. My name's Gretchen. Lauren. Lauren, nice to meet you. I'm like actually getting to really good handshake.
How did you learn how to shake
Awesome.
hands like that? Somebody teach you before?
No.
That was really. I liked the handshakes I was feeling. Right? Yeah, that was good. Okay, y'all can sit back down. We're gonna move in just a second. We're gonna cover just a couple more. I want to chat about this next one together. So this next one is environmental wellness. Who has heard about anything having to do with the environment recently? What'd you hear about?
That you gotta save nature.
Gotta save nature. That's a good one.
That,
They're matching. We just realized. What else? Have you heard of recycling? Yeah? So recycling, right? So sometimes we can recycle. What else have we heard about that we can do to help make the world a better place, right? Things we can do. Anything? Doesn't just have to be the littles. What do we do for like environmental wellness?
Pick up trash.
Pick up trash. Perfect. Especially for like outside in nature, picking up trash, recycling, right? The thing we want to understand about like environmental wellness is when you hear about all this stuff going on, like the greenhouse effect, global, like all these big things, it's really hard to think we can make a difference, isn't it? Right? But we just came up with a couple little things, right? Pick up some trash, maybe recycle, maybe reuse things. So even, y'all, I even reuse, like if I have to buy a plastic water bottle if I'm traveling, I even reuse that a couple times. If I'm traveling, I keep it with me and I refill it before I put it in the recycling. So there's little tiny things we can do there. I think we have two more. I've lost count. This is why I write it down because I get talking and I'm like, what was I saying? So spiritual wellness is one. And this one gets kind of funky because whenever I say spiritual wellness, y'all, like college kids, you know what they do? Right? Because they think I'm gonna say, everybody needs to go to church, right? That's what they think I'm gonna say. Like, guys, that's not what it is, right? Spiritual wellness is this, right? This is what I like to call it. I call it personal development. Personal development. It doesn't flow well with all the other components because it has two words, but I call it personal development. Doing something every day to make yourself a little bit better. What are anybody have anything they do already? You're here. This counts. Because you're here and you're learning things you may or may not have heard, right? So we want to make sure that that component's full, even if we don't really understand it. It's about doing something every day to make ourselves a little bit better. I always say listen to a leader. I pick somebody who I admire and I listen to something, right? So maybe podcasts, maybe y'all aren't into podcasts yet, but that's what I like. Last two, I'm gonna go through really quick. Financial wellness is one, and everyone goes, well, this is also college kids. I can't do financial wellness because I don't have any money, right? When we get money though, what are we doing with the money? That's what financial wellness is. Even if you get a quarter, do you save it? Or are you gonna spend it right away on something that you really, really want? Yes, go. You're gonna save it? Good idea. Perfect. Right? So there's ways to go through these that we think don't apply to us, but can somebody see how most of these can apply to them? Most of them? Yeah, you don't have to have them memorized. It's just an idea of some things to think about that are health related that aren't just eating right and exercising, because that gets kind of boring after a while. Right? Cool. Okay, the last one, and this is one we're going to use in our movement today, is our mental or emotional wellness. Spending time every day working on this part of ourselves, right? Every day, spending some time working on this part. And a lot of people don't really know how to do that. Some people may have heard of the word meditation. Is that, oh, you got excited. Usually I get a lot of this stuff, right? A big dramatic one of those. Or they're like, oh, I have to grow a long white beard and go live on a mountain. I'm not going to talk to anybody anymore, right? That's what no. So we're going to do a little bit of movement today because I want to show you some fun ways to move that are maybe different, right? And me and Jay were talking about this earlier, where it's not a really common thing for all sports, but a lot of other sports are starting to pick up on this thing called yoga, or I like to call it functional movement because it sounds a lot more important and people don't get scared, right? And you know it's true. So functional movement, we'll do that today. But at the end, I'm going to give you some tricks of how to meditate in a way that's not going to make you crazy. I'm not going to ask you to sit still and not think about anything, because can anybody actually do that?
No.
I can't. I can't at all, which is probably why I'm a good yoga teacher, because I don't expect anyone to sit still and not think, ever. You have that option, so if you're really good at sitting still and not thinking, you have that option. At the very end, for now, we're just gonna move in what we have on. At the end, we will grab yoga mats if you want to lay flat on the ground, and you can pick really any space, or you can always just sit back in the chair. Everything I teach, so I'm the creator of an online fitness and wellness course, and everything that I do has a chair-based option as well, because not everybody's comfortable just laying flat down on the floor, especially a hard floor. So I'll give you this option. Cool? All right, so everybody stand up.